to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and it's Sunday, I believe January the 11th. And we had a pretty good Saturday of boxing. I was satisfied. There was a lot of good fights on yesterday, and I'm here to recap some of those fights from yesterday and talk about a few upcoming fights. So if you're here with me, please hit that thumbs up and share the links to family members. What's good, Mike Ware? Share this link to your cousins, aunts or uncles, anybody who follows boxing you know in your family, cousins. Send this link. Share it on Facebook. Text message it. If you go to the gym, share it with your workout partner. Because, I want to try to get everybody engaged in my weekly show every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the USA. Now, for those who may or may not know, yes, this Wednesday, 3 days from now, I do have a surgery this middle of this week on Hump Day. So I've never had a surgery, so I don't really know. I mean, I was told the procedure, but I've never actually been through one before. So of course I'm a little nervous. But if you had a surgery before, then you know how it goes. But this is my first time, so I'm just trying to ease my mind and just knowing everything's gonna be all right. That the good Lord has me protected. Also, for those of my friends on FB on Facebook, please follow my Twitter page. Follow me on TikTok. Shout outs to my Zone 15 family and my Cincinnati, Ohio family and my family down south and all across America. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share this link on Facebook so people can see the link. So make sure if you're my Facebook friend, you can check me out. So give me a quick second so I can upload this on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, what's going on with you, Mike Ware? You doing all right? All right. So, like I said, if you're here, please hit that thumbs up wherever you are in the nation of, if you're in America or if you're in Africa, Belgium, UK, Germany, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Hopefully, you're having a good day. And we're gonna jump into this boxing talk because a lot of things went down All right, so this past Saturday, live at the Barclays, we had the main event: Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias. Now, prior to the fight, I felt like Subriel Matias. I kind of edged him, thinking that it would be like a back and forth, but that he would persevere and start to cause issues with his style of fighting. But as we saw, what's going on, what's going on, mate, out in Australia? What's going on, mate? Thanks for coming through, Pete. Please hit the thumbs up. What's going on, Cuzzo? Bobo, what's going on? So I thought Subriel Matias would have he was going to slowly break down Dalton Smith. But to my surprise, Dalton Smith had a lot of dog in him. And he wasn't basically he didn't know nothing about the back down, as we would say. He knew nothing about the back down, and he wasn't going. He wasn't going, and he showed that last night. A very, very good fight for as long as it lasted. And I must say, the beginning of 2026, we've having some good fights so far. You know, we got some lit fights. And this past Saturday, majority of these guys was putting on. They was definitely putting on. So we're going to just jump right into that main event. The Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias. The main event for the WBC World title. So what we saw in the beginning was Dalton Smith establishing his jab. He had a very crisp jab, and although Subriel Matias was blocking some of the jabs, but those that connected, they was definitely slowly taking effect. So that pretty much would prove to be essential in the ending of the match. You know, Dalton Smith, he ain't showed Subriel Matias too much respect. Sometimes you get these boxers in there and they show too much respect. Well, I like the fact that Dalton Smith stood his ground. He was willing to be in a firefight. He was willing to go in the trenches. Pretty much anything that you could deliver, his attitude was, I'm going to deliver it better. And that's what it was, you know what I'm saying? Dalton Smith, he wasn't too apprehensive. He wasn't being overly cautious. He took risk. And he stood his ground in that pocket, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's what you got to do, because styles make fights. Certain times, you got to be in that pocket. You got to roll the dice. And that's kind of like in the same aspect on the 31st of this month when Shakur Stevenson gets in there versus Teofimo Lopez. Lopez is going to have to take risk. If he's too apprehensive, if he's overthinking too much, he will get picked apart if he lets Shakur Stevenson get in the rhythm. He cannot let a master technician boxer like Shakur Stevenson get in his rhythm. If he gets in his rhythm, it's going to be hard to make adjustments to stop it. So he's going to have to go to the body of Shakur. He's going to have to try to push Shakur back to Fime. Push Shakur back as much as he can. If he can get him on the ropes, if he can get him in the corner, he's going to have to try to take advantage of every opportunity he can to put pressure on him. Now, back to the fight from yesterday with Matias versus Dalton Smith. You know what I'm saying? In round two, they had some very good exchanges. Round three was better than round two. It was like they were slowly escalating and getting in the pocket and, you know, giving some and taking some. It was like that action pack. You like, okay, round two was lit. Round three is just as lit, if not more lit than round two. And then in round four, they really digging in. They really get into it. You know, man, it was just the type of fight where you could see the intensity constantly going up round after round. You know what I'm saying? One of those fights you would be locked in. If you didn't see it, get on YouTube and watch Matias versus Dalton Smith, because it's definitely worth sitting back and watching. Now, the ref at one point he did warn Dalton Smith about clinching too much. However, all along, Dalton Smith had a game plan, y'all. Just when you thought you seen it all, like I said, round 4, they in there duking it out. And in round 5, just that fast, Dalton Smith, Subriel Matias, they meeting back in the center of the ring, and it's an instantaneous exchange, back and forth. You know, I'm giving you some, I'm taking some, you taking some, I'm giving some. You know, with just that back and forth, back and forth. Please hit that thumbs up. Now, roughly around the last minute of round 5, Dalton Smith, he catches Matias with a nasty right hand. He wobbled him, and then he delivered 2 more pinpoint accuracy right hands behind the initial one that wobbled Matias. You know, he caught him with that right. He's up there like that. Hit him with another right. And then the last right hits him like right there on that part of his head as he's about to go down. Hey, man, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. You know, the very thing that Matias, his style of fighting, where he's trying to come on in 2 and 3 rounds and stuff, it backfired on him. You know, what he was dealing with was somebody like Dalton Smith, who didn't show him too much respect and was willing to take his best shots. Once I seen that he was staying in the pocket, he wasn't getting on the back foot and backpedaling and moving around the ring. He was standing his ground. I said, "Oh, we got to fight." Once I seen that energy from Dalton Smith, I knew we had a fight. I knew we had a good fight. All right, let me get in the comment section. Hey, I can't call it Cuzzo. I can't call it Sweet Jones. Mike Ware, you said, I knew eventually his style would catch up with him. I didn't think it would be yesterday. Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be yesterday either, man. but it sure was, you know. Good day to you, cousin Rico, Zone 15. Much love, Zone 15, Sweet Jones. Much love. Peter Lancashire, you said, I have seen Dalton Smith many times and believe he can stop Matias. Yeah, man, he definitely had the capabilities and the he definitely had the capabilities and the attributes and the tool set to do it. But you know how that is. You got to actually do it, and he did it. You know, sometimes people got the tools to do it, but they can't make it happen. They can't put everything together. But Dalton Smith, he showed a lot of resilience, a lot of heart, and like I said, he didn't show him too much respect. Mike Ware, you said Matias is going to be another Jared Hurd. Both had bad footwork and defense. That style taking punches eventually catches up with you. It does, man. It does, man. If a person's not being defensively sound and showing some level of defensive responsibility, man, it's going to be slow. You start to see that a whole lot with these fighters, that they leave themselves too open. They're not using any head movement. They're not using any angles, any feints. You know what I'm saying? They just too stiff, or they're just too coming straight forward, like Joe Joyce back in the day, and people like that, man. Eventually, you're gonna get stopped. It's only so much you can keep taking with a war after war with different fighters. It's like an ice block. An ice block is very solid, but if you keep chipping away at an ice block and you keep chipping away, eventually that ice block will start to cave in. It's gonna start to crack, and that's how it is when people have good chins. They keep taking them. They keep taking them, but fight after fight after fight, eventually it catches up with you. So it's always good to be a defensively sound fighter too. Peter, you said, I think Lopez will take risks with Shakur. We're going to see a very good Lopez. Peter, you said Matias is usually starts waking up round 4. But after round 1, Matias was like, damn, I got to start fighting now. Dalton hurt me in that. Matias starts to get on top rounds 2 and 3. Halfway through round 4, it was like, that's it, and taking the fight to him. Yeah, man, it was a very, very good fight. In fact, I might look at the fight one more time tonight. I looked at it earlier today. I looked at it yesterday, and I might look at it again because it was a good fight. That's definitely the way to kick off 2026 in the new year. That fight right there, hey, that was a good one there. All right, so let's talk about the co-main event at the Barclays. So you had Fernando Diaz, record of 16-6-1, versus Emmanuel Rodriguez, 22-3-0. In the last 45 seconds of round 1, Rodriguez drops Diaz with a hook. Now, Rodriguez landed some body shots in the second round. Rodriguez was controlling the pace. In early half of round number 5, Diaz had some good moments. He landed some real good combinations. Then eventually Rodriguez took back control of the pace and the tempo. Round 9 was very action-packed, a very action-packed round. Diaz getting in close range was having some success, pressing the action in close quarters. So that was another good fight. Hey, they did their thing last night. They were definitely entertaining. Also, you had Victor Sandoval versus Centron. Now, Victor Sandoval record 38 wins, 5 losses, 24 by KO. His opponent, Javier Centron, 13 wins, 1 loss, 6 by knockout in the bantamweight division. In round 1, like a crazed man, Sandoval, he came pressing the action towards Centron with haymakers, and he dropped him close to the ropes in the beginning 30 seconds of the fight. Now, although he was dealing with a ferocious, aggressive opponent, Centron, he still kept his polish and poise. And in doing so, he dropped Victor Sandoval in round 1 as well. So he got dropped, got up, and then dropped him. Then just that quick, a few seconds later, Centron drops Sandoval again for the second time. In a crazy turn of events, Sandoval is dropped a third time in round 1 with 40 seconds left. In the last 30 seconds. In the last 30 seconds, Centron, he goes all in, pressing Sandoval in the corner ropes and stopped him in round 1. That had to be one of the craziest fights I've seen in a long time. Like I said, this year of 2026 is definitely started out to be a very good A very good year of boxing. In the featherweight division, the young Keith Collin, whose record is 9-0-0, versus Alberto Herrera, whose record is 28-8-0. Now Keith Collin made it look like a sparring match, pretty much. Being the younger guy, and he ended up stopping Alberto in round 7. Mike Ware, I'm not sure if Matias had a rematch clause. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Maybe somebody else in the chat knows. Do you know, Pete? Did Matias have a rematch clause? A cousin Bobo, do you know if there happened to be a rematch clause or not? Now I'm gonna jump on over into Germany real quick and talk about this other card for the main event of Agit Kabayal versus Damain Knyba. That was over in Germany. Now you had Javier Herrera, who's 18-0-0, versus Ricardo Nunes, 28-8-0. In round 1, Herrera, he got dropped by a right hand from Ricardo Nunes. Herrera rose to his feet and gathered himself. In round 7, Herrera started to press the action, and he comes in with an onslaught of punches that had Ricardo Nunes against the ropes and not returning fire. So the ref steps in and waves the fight off. Herrera started to turn up in round 7. He gets his opponent, Ricardo Nunes, against the ropes and just starts to unleash a fury of punches. And the ref has seen enough and waves off the fight. Now, I've seen a couple of videos where Herrera was calling out Shakur Stevenson. Hey, I can respect it. He wants all the smoke, it sounds like, but I don't know. Shakur might be a little too much for Herrera at this point. But I'm down for it. I'm down for it. Also, you had Peter Malis, who's 19-1-0, versus Granit Xhaka, 18-1-0. Now, Xhaka, in round 1, he came out real aggressive. It was no filling out round for neither guy. Both of them had a mean exchange in round 1. Malis kept his poise, though. In round 3, he landed some good power shots. Neither guy had a huge edge on the other guy come round 9. Now, round 10, it got interesting. The last and final round 10, got very interesting. Xhaka was showing signs of fatigue. And I just knew if he gets tired, it's going to be problems. If Xhaka gets tired, it's going to be problems. Where round 10, he started showing signs of fatigue. And his opponent, Peter, he started pushing him back towards the ropes. He was catching Xhaka with a barrage of punches. And then in the middle of the final round, he catches Xhaka with a mean right hand that sent him crashing down to the canvas. Now, once Xhaka got back to his feet, his opponent pounced right back on him. Peter pounced right back on Xhaka, battered him, pushed him back to the ropes, and caught him with several power right hands. He even signaled to the ref like this, like, hey, like he saw that his opponent Xhaka was dazed, and he was trying to let the ref know. Well, the ref should have, took some type of action, right? He didn't, and Shala got finished. He got hit with two more punches that sent him to the canvas, and he tried to get up a final time as the ref is trying to count in the corner. Team Shala throws in the towel. They threw the towel in the ring, but the ref was so busy counting Shala that he wasn't paying attention to the fact that the towel got thrown in there. You know, so a lot of people don't like the decision making of that ref. What do y'all feel about that particular fight with the ref? Do you think the ref did a good job, or was he kind of lacking on his responsibility? Now on that same card, you had Tyson Fury's brother, Roman Fury, either his brother or his cousin. But Roman Fury 6-0-0 versus Kevin Greenwood. Greenwood had a bare knuckle background. He was 6 wins, 11 losses, and no draws. It pretty much was a like a sparring session for Roman Fury. He's nothing like Tyson Fury as far as he's not as slick as him, or even he's not even as slick as Huey Fury. But Roman Fury, he's only had like 6 fights, so you can only expect so much from him. But I don't think he has that natural ability. Like, he don't have that natural upper body movement like Huey or Tyson Fury. But he kind of has that style, the way he punches. He doesn't have a whole lot of power, but he's kind of like that. Pop pop and move, pop pop and move a little bit. You said, was Roman Fury the one that beat Jake Paul? No, that was Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's the one. Yeah, Tommy Fury, the one is the more muscular other Furies. And we're gonna talk about the main event over in Germany. The main event. Main event. Heavyweight. Agit Kabayal. 27 wins, no losses, no draws. Versus Damain Knyba, who was 17-0-0. Now Damain Knyba is 17 wins, 1 loss after his loss to Agit Kabayal. That fight, I could see the movement of Damain Knyba. He was moving decent, being the taller and the more rangier fighter. He was using his advantages, you know. But eventually, Agit Kabayal was able to work his way in the inside and catch him with some body shots, some real slick body shots once he got in range. And that's what he wanted to do. Now, a lot of people, they want to see Agit Kabayal versus Usyk. I mean, I would definitely watch the fight, but I personally feel like Usyk is a different level. While Agit Kabayal is a good fighter, I must give him his respect because he's where he's at for a reason. But I just don't see Agit Kabayal's style. I feel like Usyk's style is all wrong for Agit Kabayal. Yes, Kabayal did stop a big puncher like Zhilei Zhang. Southpaw. Doesn't have the best gas tank. Magmadov has power, but doesn't have a very good gas tank, just like Zhilei Zhang. So do you see the pattern there? These are guys that don't have the best gas tank. And when it comes to Damian Kemba, while his gas tank is probably maybe average or whatever, we never seen him go deep into a war with anybody that's a very notable name to where he's going deep in rounds where you're like, okay, this dude is the type of guy who has stamina, he has top level conditioning, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? So based on those type of opponents, Damian Knyba, Zilly Zhang, and Magmadov. None of these guys fight anything like Usyk. Usyk's in his own category. There's no other heavyweight out here that fights like Usyk. I think it's fair to say the only other fighter who has really good footwork was Tyson Fury, and even Usyk was too much for Tyson Fury. I feel like Agit Kabayal, he looks good, being that he fought the level of opponents he's fought. I'm not saying these opponents were not good fighters, because Zilly Zhang is very dangerous. So is Magmadov. He can be dangerous, but they lack the footwork and they lack the conditioning. Usyk has all that. He has the conditioning, he has the footwork, he punches from odd angles, hand speed, foot speed, stamina. Usyk has all that. I feel like he would be too much in style makes fights. I think Usyk is far too much for Agit Kabayel. Now, Agit Kabayel never shows any weaknesses as far as I think he'll go. We seen him get off the ground when Zhang dropped him, so we know he has the heart. We know he has resilience. But I just feel like eventually he would get worn down once the fight gets in the later rounds, in the championship rounds. I feel like Usyk is really gonna start turning up. So as Agit Kabayel starts to decline as far as his performance, his output of punches, I feel like Usyk is still gonna be doing this. He gonna keep raising the bar. I just feel like right now Usyk is gonna be. It's hard to say there's anybody in the heavyweight that beats him. Now I know that he called out Deontay Wilder, and I know a lot of people say, well, Wilder doesn't deserve it. But then at the same time, like a lot of other people said on other podcasts or other boxing experts, and Roy Jones said it too, he feels like he needs to beat Wilder because he's the American former ex-champ. You know, he's an American fighter. He's an ex-champ, and he was known as a big threat in the heavyweight division. Now, let Wilder tell it. Wilder claims Usyk's only calling him out now because he suffered a handful of losses. Wilder pretty much saying that had he never lost, and when he was on his winning streak, that Usyk would have never, ever tried to approach him for a fight. So let me know what y'all think in the chat. Do you feel like Usyk sees a good opportunity and a good timing to try to fight Wilder? Or is it just that Wilder was never who we really thought he was? We knew Wilder could punch. We knew he was a knockout artist, but we did understand his limitations as far as his fundamentals, and his resume was maybe slightly above average, but it wasn't nothing that was too crazy. I hope so, Peter. I hope that we see a very good Lopez, man. I definitely do. I hope he's all the way mentally right because if he is, this fight is going to be very good with him and Shakur. We just need for him to be in the right mind space, in the right head space. When you get a on form to Fime Lopez, it could be a long night for Shakur Stevenson. It could be a long night. Peter, you said Matias usually starts waking up round 4, but after round 1, Matias was like, I got to start fighting now. Dalton hurt me in that. Matias starts to get on top rounds 2 and 3. Absolutely. Peter, you said, do you think Matias been the same since the loss to Payro? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. That's a good question, man. Um, I need to go back and watch that fight again because it's been a long time since I've seen that fight. But Subriel Matias looked pretty good against Puelo when he fought Palo. Mike Ware, you said I have Shakur winning, but we know T.O. rises for the real big fights. The fight two before that was the best. Peter, you said Sandoval versus Centron was round of the year so far. That was crazy. Absolutely, mate. That was off the hook, man. Peter, you said no rematch clause. I believe Puelo has been mandated. Yeah, man, that ref was terrible. He was terrible. Peter, you said Agit was eating too much uppercuts for my liking. You shouldn't be walking into uppercuts. Usyk will whoop Agit, but too many holes in his defense. I agree, man. Usyk is just so cerebral. You know, he usually, like Tony Bell, you said about him, he's a very special fighter. And as you get in there, and as you get to those mid rounds, and you're giving all that you can, and you're trying to push yourself to the max, Usyk can go another gear. And that's what makes him such a dangerous fighter. When you feel like you're giving your all, you you're gonna have issues with Usyk down the stretch. When you fight Usyk, you better train like you're fighting a 15-round fight because Usyk can fight like he can go 15 rounds. He just such he's at such a peak condition. It sets him apart from every other heavyweight. You know, this guy. What did Malik Scott call him? Malik Scott, Wilder's last trainer. He called. He referred to Alexander Usyk as the black belt of boxing. That's how much respect Malik Scott had for Usyk. He called him the black belt of boxing. But since we're speaking about Malik Scott, let's rewind back to what I just said not too long ago. Deontay Wilder. Should Wilder fight Usyk the way that Malik Scott explained it? He said Wilder knocks out Usyk. He feels like Wilder has a style that he could stop Usyk. Now, I obviously said before, but I'll say it again. I definitely lean towards Usyk to beat Deontay Wilder. But I have to give Wilder the credit in the regard he does have a lot of heart. When Wilder gets dropped by a much bigger Fury who was using some dirty tactics and leaning on him and putting him in the headlock, etc., he still kept getting up against a much bigger Tyson Fury. Now, if he fights Usyk, it's not going to be evenly. It won't be an even fight in the perspective of skill. Usyk is that much more skilled than Wilder. You can't even put Wilder in the same sentence from a skill level when it comes to Usyk. However, the size and the weight are somewhat equivalent. These are two small heavyweights. Just like Usyk is a small heavyweight, so is Deontay Wilder. So I actually feel like that'll benefit Wilder because he had to deal with a lot of extra stuff that Fury could bring being a bigger man. He could overpower him. He could lean on him. He could do all these things. Usyk doesn't fight that style of a fight. Usyk is a mover. He's always moving around the ring in lateral movements, and he's a southpaw. Wilder's secret weapon, well, not secret weapon, his obvious weapon, is the right hand. That's his obvious weapon. So I feel like if he can camouflage the right hand, maybe go to the body of Usyk, then he could set up traps and go for the knockout. Even with the uppercut, he has to start working on other finishing means. He has to stop relying on just a straight right hand. He has to start working on uppercuts and hooks and body shots. If he can make some small tweaks, Wilder could be a problem. You said, Peter, give Apataya 2 fights at heavy after he become undisputed at cruiserweight. Usyk probably be retired then, but I think Apataya was the skill set. Mike Ware, you said, remember Wilder said Usyk was ducking him. Usyk takes that personal. I never felt Wilder was good like some people said. I knew he would lose going up in competition. Yeah, I feel the same way, Mike Ware. In many ways, I do. I do feel the same way. Peter, you said Wilder has a puncher's chance that he don't deserve. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. And Ja Pataya is definitely a very good fighter. I don't see this happening, but a lot of people talked about David Benavidez. But I think David Benavidez looks just perfect at light heavyweight. 175 right now. Cruiserweight, I don't know. I think he would be too slow. He doesn't need to put on too much weight too fast right now. He needs to just stick there at 175. If he can get Peterviev fight, great, because Peterviev is getting up in age. So I personally feel like David Benavidez should go for a Peterviev fight first. Then try to get the Bivol fight, because Bivol, from what I'm seeing, he's been training again. He's back in training and stuff. So, Bivol is always a very slick fighter. I think that would be a very good contrast of styles to see him versus like a brawler puncher like David Benavidez. Those style fights are always good fights. But seeing David Benavidez, a puncher and a brawler, versus somebody like Peterviev, who's a puncher, that would be a good fight too. Because there's a good chance somebody's getting stopped or somebody's getting knocked out. And I did read comments from the last fight with Anthony Yarde versus David Benavidez. And people said, hey, muscles don't win fights, because we saw how David Benavidez put something on Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde has all those muscles, but when it came to fighting David Benavidez, it was null and void. It was null and void. It didn't matter. Mike Ware, you said David is cutting from 210. Now, Peter, you said, well, we ain't getting Benavidez fighting Zerto at 200. Winner must fight Apataya. Yeah, man. That may just be how everything outlines, and that's what I like, man. It's like this year is going to be a definitely. It's starting off good in this month of January, so I see the rest of the year being some really good matches because you still got David Benavidez out there, as you mentioned, Peter. You got Zerto, you got Ja Pataya. In about what, a week and a half, 2 weeks, we got the young up and coming Moses Ntuma versus Jermaine Franklin on January 24th. I feel like that's going to be an interesting fight just because Jermaine Franklin has never been dropped. Jermaine Franklin has never been knocked out. So I guess the question you ask yourself is, will Moses Ntuma be the first person to stop or knock out Jermaine Franklin? Do y'all think he will knock out Jermaine Franklin, or do you think it will go the distance? And hypothetically speaking, what do you think about Fabio Wardley, the WBO champ, versus Fabio Wardley versus Agit Kabayal, hypothetically, or Fabio Wardley versus Moses Ntuma? How would y'all predict those fights? Moses Ntuma versus Fabio Wardley, or Fabio Wardley versus Agit Kabayal? Peter, you said Ntuma knocks him out. That's going to be interesting, Peter, because if Ntuma knocks out Jermaine Franklin, we have to look at the facts that Jermaine Franklin has fought some guys with nice knockout percentages. And Dillian White knocked out Chisora, who we know is a very resilient fighter. Derek Chisora, Dillian White, he buzzed AJ. Dillian White went the distance with Jermaine Franklin. He did not stop Jermaine Franklin. He went to the scorecards. And arguably, some people felt like he lost, but it was in UK, so they felt like they catered to Dillian White. Anthony Joshua, 89% knockout ratio. He went the distance with Jermaine Franklin. He didn't knock him out because Jermaine Franklin has a very cagey style. He's kind of slippery. He's got decent hand speed, and he has a very good chin and a lot of heart. So if Moses Ntuma knocks him out, that's going to make a huge statement. That's going to definitely put the heavyweight division on notice. If he knocks out Jermaine Franklin, I think another good fight for him, a good opponent would be Big Baby Miller or Andy Ruiz. Now, Big Baby Miller is going to be fighting a guy named Kingsley soon, and I feel like Big Baby Miller is going to win this fight. So maybe after that, we might get Miller versus Ntuma. Ntuma versus Big Baby Miller, a fighter that we expect for him to get rounds. Big Baby Miller, technically the only time he's been stopped is when he fought Daniel Dubois, and they stopped it in the last 10 seconds of the round, which to me, they should have let the fight just go because it was only like 10 seconds left. You said Wardley should give Huney a rematch. Well, I'm not I'm not opposed to that, but I think right now, while he's on his high and he has that WBO belt, I think he needs to challenge, if he can, defend that WBO belt or try to get the other belts. So he needs to fight somebody. If by chance he can get a shot at Usyk, that would be more ideal. Because either Usyk is going to get the WBO belt back off of Wardley, or if Usyk loses, Wardley gets the belts that Usyk has. And then maybe down the line he can defend his title against Justice Huney. But I don't think he's making Huney a huge priority right now. That's just my opinion, though. That's just my thinking. Peter, you said I'm thinking Huney. Laugh out loud. I felt so bad for Huney. He was schooling Wardley. Yeah, he was. And look at Joseph Parker. He had a lot of good rounds, a lot of good success against Fabio Wardley, and Fabio finds a way with that massive power to get himself out of trouble. And the thing about Wardley, unlike Deontay Wilder, he has power in both hands, and he has better basic fundamentals than Deontay Wilder. So that's what makes Wardley so dangerous. Mike Ware, you said Huney deserves a rematch, but it ain't happening. Mike Ware, you said, what about Joe? Joe Joyce, easy fight to make. Get him in with a power puncher. Yeah, man. And I want to say Joe Joyce, I haven't, I heard something about him, but I don't know if he has a fight lined up for this year. And then I heard Kawanaki's coming back to boxing. I don't know who he's going to fight, but Kawanaki. I mean, personally, I don't know. I like the guy. He seemed like he has a good attitude. Seems like a cool guy. But Kawanaki, I don't know. What do y'all think about him? I feel like he's on that level with like maybe like the Fraser Clark type level. I don't know. Maybe Kawanaki versus somebody like Dave Allen. Dave Allen versus Kawanaki. You know, I don't know if they ever fought before, but yeah, Kawanaki versus Dave Allen. And to me, Dave Allen, he could have made a better account of himself when he fought Magmadov. But Dave Allen, to me, he wasn't pressing the action enough. Peter, you said Wardley versus Fury probably happening now. Yeah, man, that's the fight I want to see. But I know that Fury claims he wants that fight, but do we really feel that he wants that fight? To me, Tyson Fury kind of has navigated his career a certain way. And to me, other than Usyk, who was a much better technician, who was faster than Fury, I think other than Usyk, which there's only one Usyk, Tyson Fury seems to struggle with punchers that he can't bully. Think about it. Wilder was a puncher, but he bullied Wilder in the second and third fight. Put him on his back foot, a lot of little rough, borderline dirty tactics, like he did against Steve Cunningham, the smaller guy. But look at Francis Ngannou, a guy that would not allow Fury to use the dirty tactics. He was not letting Fury push him on his back foot. He was not letting Fury put him in no headlock or lean on him. If you're a puncher like a Fabio Wardley and you're a big man, I think that you will give Fury a lot of problems because he can't just have his way with you. So that would be a good fight. I could see Fabio Wardley dropping Fury, maybe even more than once. Peter, you said I'm thinking of Huney. Laugh out loud. I felt so bad for Huney. Yeah, yeah, man. He was schooling him, but he got caught. That's all it takes when you're fighting somebody like Wardley, who has that raw power like that. He has that raw power for sure. Mike Ware, you said Wardley needs to fight outside the UK after these last two fight. Mike Ware, babyface assassin needs to go to Zuffa. Zuffa, I think what's the name went with them too. The guy that fought the taller boxer. I want to say he's a Latin fighter. That fought Pitbull Cruz. I think I seen something that he was gonna go with Zuffa. I can't think of his name right now, but I know Mike Ware. You would know the one that fought Pitbull Cruz and beat him. I'll have to Google it. Greetings, Cuzzo. Thank you for coming through. Thanks for showing your love. Um, Hold on, man. I gotta look that up. What his name was? Um, was it Rayo? Let me see. Box Rec. We're gonna look up Pitbull Cruz. Yeah, Jose Valenzuela. Jose Valenzuela. I think he's with Zuffa or supposed to be going with Zuffa. So I don't know. We gonna see. See how that situation goes. But I mean, the heavyweights, there's so many fighters out there that are non-active, and that's been a huge issue with heavyweight division. There's a lot of good fights that can happen. It's just that so many people are not staying active. You know, these guys are not even fighting every 6 months. Majority of these guys fight once a year or once every 18 months. That's way too long being outside of the ring. You got guys like Martin Bacoli. Been a while since he fought. Daniel Dubois, I heard he wanted to fight Fabio Wardley or whoever. I would like to see Tyson Fury fight Fabio Wardley or Daniel Dubois. Two big punchers. And Zilly Zhang, it's been a while since he's fought as well. So we will see. We will see what's going to go on with the heavyweight division in this year of 2026. It's just going to be a good year. And then Keyshawn Davis, of course, he's back. So he's the guy that said he's going to take over 140. So you got Richardson, Hitchens, and Pitbull Cruz, and all them guys at 140. So eventually, I want to see those guys fight. And I know after Shakur, should he win, if he can beat Teofimo Lopez, he doesn't intend to stay at 140. He's going right back down to 135 because in the interview he did on I believe Art of Dialogue, he said, "I'll go up to 140 and beat Teofimo Lopez. I'll go back to 135 and I'll let Keyshawn Davis take over 140." Because basically Shakur says he will never ever fight Keyshawn Davis. They act like they're brothers, so therefore we will never see Keyshawn Davis versus Shakur Stevenson. Pretty much Shakur let it be known a few times over that that is not a fight that he would be willing to make. Uh, Mike Ware, you said Ryo Brian Norman might need to go to Zuffa. He ain't winning a belt at 147 or 154. Peter Lancashire, you said Zilly Zane needs to retire. Well, he's about at that age, you know. Hey, if he wants to get one more big fight for a good payday, maybe let Zilly Zane fight the older guys, you know, like somebody who's around his age. Those guys are at 40 or a little bit over age 40. I myself, I'll be 46 this month. So these guys are getting up in age. But if Zilly Zhang does fight, maybe he can fight somebody like what's his name? He fought Klitschko, he fought Anthony Joshua, and he just lost. I think he fought Derek Chisora. Uh, uh, what's that fighter? He's kind of an older heavyweight. Pulev, Kubrat Pulev. I think he's in his 40s. Deontay Wilder, he's like 40 years old now. So you got Wilder, Kubrat Pulev, Zilly Zhang. All these guys are like between the ages of 40 and 41. So they should let these guys fight each other. You know, that's just my opinion. Mike Ware, you said Zilly Zhang looked every bit of 42 last fight. Keyshawn Davis said after this fight, he is going to 147. I did see that with Keyshawn Davis. I don't know if I think that's a smart move because I know he keeps bringing up Devin Haney. And Keyshawn is an aggressive fighter. I like him because once he sees he got you hurt, he will try to get you out of there. I like that. I like that part of him. He has a killer instinct in him. But I think 147 as of right now is going to be too much for him. I think he needs to just stick at 140 for a while. You know, you got Richardson Hitchens, you got your Pitbull Cruz, you got Lamont Roach. You got these guys at 140. Once you go ahead and fight and clear out 140, then go up to 147. I think right now he's going to 147 kind of prematurely, in my opinion. And I like Keyshawn, but I mean, come on. Peter, you said Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith against who? Who did you have in mind that you would like to see Dalton Smith versus next? And then next month, in February, you said Davis versus Smith in the UK. Yeah, man, that would be a good one. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting fight. And on the 31st, the Tefime Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. It's a pretty good undercard too, because you're gonna have Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. You're gonna have Shu Carrington versus Carlos Castro. Keyshawn Davis versus Jermaine Ortiz. So it's going to be a pretty good undercard on the 31st. Then in February in women's boxing, female boxing, Clarissa Shields will be fighting Franchon Cruz Dezern. I'm going with Clarissa Shields just because she's more skilled as far as speed, footwork, head movement, upper body movement, and a lot of time with a power puncher, unless you just have power like a Fabio Wardley or a Deontay Wilder and you have a puncher's chance. But if you're just a power puncher who has decent power and you can't land on your target, they're going to just run circles all night and they're going to beat you to the punch. And I feel like Clarissa Shields, who doesn't have a lot of power or is not known for knockouts, she'll just win on points, but she'll do it in a emphatic style. She'll do it. She'll do a number on Franchon Cruz Dezern and give her a boxing lesson. Peter, you said we have a good domestic match this Friday. Nikita Zhu versus Michael. I can't pronounce it, but is it Zarifra? Love my local and domestic boxing. Now, is Nikita Zhu, are they related to Tim Zhu? It's the heart and soul of boxing. Yeah, man. Where you're from, man, Australia is definitely starting to produce some up and coming some guys that are some good fighters. Now, as far as Ja Apataya, is he Australian or is he like Samoa, like Joseph Parker? Is Ja Apataya Samoan or is he Australian? Peter, you said Samoan Australian. Okay, that's cool, man. And he's a southpaw, so yeah, he's a lot of times those southpaw. When you're a good southpaw and you know how to use it, man, when you know how to use the fact you're a southpaw and a left-handed fighter to your advantage, ooh wee, like you seeking them, and then Ja Pataya, yeah, these guys are southpaw fighters that are very good. Um, Peter, you said Parker not Australian. He's full New Zealander. Oh, okay, I got you. And Mike Ware, you said is Tim Zoo's brother. Okay, okay. I'll have to look into him because, like I said, I got surgery on Wednesday in 3 days, so I will be, have to get plenty of rest and recovery. So when I recover from my surgery, I'm gonna have my phone, and I'm gonna be looking up Nikita Zoo. I'm gonna be looking up a lot of these different fighters and taking advantage of my time off. So I will definitely be looking up some of these new prospects. Oh yeah, and if you want to support my channel, Peter or anybody here in the chat, if you go to the description area, I have a link tree on my Facebook page, but I also have a link tree in the description area on YouTube. I have these ring walk boxing hats with different colors. I got the gray and black one on right now. I got the ring walk, the blue trucker style hat. I have the shirts, t-shirts, blue. I got an orange one. I got a hunter green shirt. I have a merch online where you can order your merch. I have hoodies and stuff like that as well. So check out the online store if you want to support the channel. Hey, Cousin Rico, I definitely plan to take it easy after my surgery. I definitely do. Peter, you said you're resting, recovering now, vertigo. Oh, yeah. I think my brother had that before. That vertigo. I have to have a hernia surgery because I got a hernia the size of a baseball. So I got to get that taken care of in 3 days. I've been counting down the days. But I appreciate you, Peter, man. I like to get guys like you from Australia and different places all over the world. Eventually, in the near future, I would like to connect with you. Connect with you on this platform, and as this channel grows, we'll be able to stay in touch. But I'll be here every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. I will be here every Sunday. Peter, you said, nope, I couldn't walk, was in the hospital 3 days. Still dizzy, but getting better slowly. Well, I hope you get all the way better, Peter. I hope you get all the way better, my man. Just take care of yourself, mate. Take care of yourself, man, for sure. Um, Let me go grab this link real quick for those. Okay, you say it's 10 a.m. over in Australia. Okay. Yeah, down here, over here in Ohio, USA, it is 7:17 p.m. over here. Cousin Rico, you said I'm gonna check out the merchandise too, Gino. All right, Cuzzo. Yeah. The link is in the description area on YouTube. But I can also grab the link and forward it to you and text it to you as well, Cuzzo. I appreciate all the support for sure. I appreciate all the support. And I want to thank everybody who pulled up tonight at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Like I said, same time next week. As long as I'm feeling better after my surgery and I feel up to it, I will try to continue my show next Sunday. So I will keep y'all posted on my progress, and hopefully I will see you next Sunday. Worst case scenario, if I don't go live next Sunday, I will be on the following Sunday after that. But I will keep you updated through my social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So y'all all be safe. Okay, Peter, you said you will be joining every Monday, 10 a.m. your time. Cool, man. I appreciate that, man. I'm happy you finally got a chance to check me out. So everybody be safe, and I will see y'all next week. Like I said, if you replay this channel, this live tonight, just hit thumbs up. Even if you don't catch the live during my live right now, if you play it back later this week, just help me out and hit the thumbs up to help the algorithm and everything. And like I said, you can share my link. So if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you see me post this YouTube to my Facebook post, just share it for me. Share it and maybe tag a few of your boxing friends. I need to get the word out. And I appreciate all y'all support. Y'all be safe. And I will catch you on the next round. Peace.